Hopefully you've gotten a grip. You're getting a little bit more accustomed to what it feels like. Do lots of stuff, walk around, carry your racket around in your house with the Continental grip, do a little edge work, all kinds of stuff. That's all going to help your serve. So the next thing we need to do is learn what the arm feels like going towards the ball. It doesn't matter what I tell you and describe to you. You have to feel it, and when you can feel it, then things are going to change. So a term that tennis pros use is hit up to the ball. We always say hit up to the ball, and I really honestly don't think anybody knows what that means. Not many anyway. And so the concept I think a lot of people get is hitting up like this, right? I'm going to hit up, and that's because the grip is in the wrong place often. And that's absolutely not what hitting up to the ball is. So this idea of hitting up to the ball looks something like this. If here's my contact point, my racket is down in the back on its way up, and my racket is going to approach the ball this way and then come up and over. This is what we're talking about when we say hitting up to a ball. You notice that the racket head is on its way up. At that point, it's reached its apex, and it's going to just come over. That's what our arm is letting it do. That's what we're intending to do. So it's that racket head coming up and around, up to the ball, not the ball hitting over the top, the racket hitting over the top of the ball, and not the racket hitting under the ball. It's the racket head approaching the ball, and it's starting to strike the ball on the way up. That's hugely important. So let's learn what that feels like. That's the most important thing. So we're going to get our ServeMaster. I've got the 2-ball unit again. And what we're going to do is, I'm not worrying so much about my lower body and my left arm right now. We're going to get to that later. What I want you to think about is, where is my contact point, number one, okay? So we're going to base this on a slice serve. So the contact point is going to be in front and to the right, slightly to the right. And all I'm really looking to do here is swing up to a contact point and let my arm be very loose and do what it wants to do, not what I'm trying to manipulate it to do, which is what happens with a racket. Notice that the ball end easily travels over a still hand, basically. Watch right here. It's moving, the hand is moving only a short distance, and the ball end travels over. This is a part of pronation. This is the finish of pronation. See how the palm finishes out. And so you can just practice this part with your ServeMaster. If you just relax your hand and you get set in proper position, meaning tricep parallel to the ground, elbow back towards the back fence, fingers closed behind your head, which should happen automatically if your grip's in the right place. And since this is weighted, I'm just going to get it started. My arm is completely relaxed. I'm barely holding on to this thing. I'm just going to get it started, and you notice that the weighted end just goes over on its own. Right, and that's exactly what we're looking for when we're hitting a serve with a racket. When I'm using a racket, it's the same thing. I'm just letting the racket head go over. But now, I've got this edge going forward, right? And as I reach up, naturally, the racket flattens out slightly. And now you see the butt of the racket coming out the right-hand side, okay? Hopefully, rationally, that makes sense to you. What ends up happening is when we get a racket in our hand, since it's solid and we can manipulate it, that's what we do. And we try and do all kinds of stuff, right? Hit it and do it. We try and manage it without even knowing it. You're just completely unconscious. So when you get one of these in your hand, you can't manipulate it. It's got a mind of its own. It's weighted and loose. So you just got to get it, stay loose, and do the right thing. Just swing it up, look at it, it's out in front of my right shoulder, and my objective is going to be to finish. My objective is going to be to finish with the butt of the racket out the right side of my hand. And if you just let it fly, let it flop that way, that's what's going to happen. And you're going to, without knowing, learn the most important part of the serve. That's called pronating. Pronating is where you're going to get a lot of speed, right? That's action. It's over-taught, it's over-thought. You just need to feel what it is, and then you need to trust if your grip's in the right place, and your ball toss is in a relatively good place, if you do it with your racket, your serve is going to come out just fine. Okay, that's your next task. Work on this really easy task just with the arm. Remember, later on we're going to add in some right leg, back leg, and toss arm to help out with a little bit more speed and rotation and all that. But for right now, we're just doing this much. Just feel how the arm goes over.